Sir, with your permission, I commence my address on the union budget. Sir, I must say that as I rise to speak, I have a concern.
Please.
Sir, I am privileged that while I have the concern,
आपस में बात नहीं, माननीय मंत्री जी प्लीज आपस में बात नहीं प्लीज, माननीय निरंजन रेड्डी
sir, as I rise to speak, I must say, sir, that I have a concern. While I have a concern, I must also admit that I am privileged that I have the opportunity to share the concern with this august house. Sir, the concern is the Indian economy is in a quaint place. Sir, I am using my expressions carefully when I say quaint place because I find on the broad parameters everything looks good. Sir, the macroeconomic factors are trending well. The fiscal glide path is back on track. The budget, I compliment and commend the Finance Ministry, sir, and the Honorable Finance Minister that they have not taken a short-term populist view. They have taken a medium-term or a long-term view. The growth rate looks well poised, making India one of the highest growing large economies in the world. These are all the broad parameters, sir, where India seems to be doing well. But, sir, on a closer look, there are some concerns. Now, concern number one is that private investment has been flailing. Sir, we have been witnessing economic growth without a commensurate job growth. Sir, the third concern is about the rising inequalities and a K-shaped economic recovery that India is seeing post-COVID. Sir, I will start by saying that this is not entirely governance fault, but while I speak about these governance measures later, sir, we need to be mindful when we are looking at these concerns that there are greater challenges that lie ahead. Sir, amongst the biggest challenge India faces is that India is blessed with a demographic dividend, but it has a short window, sir. So by 2035, India will peak with its demographic dividend, which means the maximum number of young people would be available for useful deployment for this national resources by 2035. We are barely 11 years away when India will reach that peak demographic dividend. India needs to get its act in order before 2035, sir. Sir, then there are going to be technological disruptions like artificial intelligence or any other emerging technology. Sir, there are going to be climatic disruptions which India needs to factor in. Other global risks have been portended and also carefully warned to us by the economic survey. This includes the supply chains, the ongoing wars, the reducing globalization and increasing internalization. Sir, I go back to the issue that in relation to all these challenges, can the government be blamed solely? Sir, I would respectfully think not so. Sir, there have been a few missteps. Demonetization, haphazard GST rollout, certain corrective steps were taken later. Sir, while the government did not have the humility or grace to admit it, I would still commend the government for at least taking the corrective steps on these issues later. Sir, when I'm speaking of whether there is a governance failure, I would say no, because government has done rather splendidly in the COVID crisis and the immediate aftermath thereafter. Sir, but I now come back to my concerns, which is job creation. Sir, it is now recognized this is majorly linked to private investment that needs to happen. So this brings us to the second concern, sir, which is private investment. Why are we not having enough private investments? Why is India still bankrolling on the government capital expenditure that has been commendable? Sir, then we also need to be mindful of anticipatory challenges and disruptive forces that are likely to take place, sir. So now I would like to start with what seems to be a major problem area, which is private investment. Sir, I want to speak a little candidly. It may be not palatable to one or the other sections. Sir, when I look at what is it that is not bringing private investment, though the economy is doing well, sir, Honorable Member Mr. Chidambaram, when he spoke, he said when growth happens, it is not seen only in numbers. One has a sense of seeing it and feeling it on ground. So today, if we have to be honest and candid, Why the private investments are not coming in the speed that we would want, sir, is because there is a prevailing sense of fear amongst the business people, sir. Now, this sense of fear is on account of the GST enforcements. I am not talking about political ED actions, sir, but I am talking of economic ED actions. It feels, sir, that I have seen cases and I have dealt with cases, sir, I am a practicing lawyer, where people who have paid close to 80 to 100 crore GST returns on the allegation that they have not paid 2 crores or 3 crores GST, they were summoned and they were physically beaten. Sir, I will be able to authenticate this because there is an order of the Hyderabad High Court. There is also an order of the Delhi High Court recognizing this fact that GST officials have manhandled assessees. Sir, I would think, sir, I would, sir. I volunteered myself because I am making an allegation. Sir, I am saying that GST officials and ED officials need to be careful and mindful when they are dealing with these economic engine drivers of Indian growth, sir, because they are not here for the purpose of committing a crime. They want to do business. Yes, laws need to be enforced. Sir, the difference between, sir, I would be the first person to admit that the economy needed to be formalized. Last 10 years, government has done a fantastic job of formalizing the economy, sir. It needed to bring the economy under control because it was extremely unwieldy. They have done a very good job in bringing it under control. So the point I'm making is, bringing something under control is different from controlling it thereafter. If the economy is going to be controlled, and if the members feel, the members of the economy feel that the entire economy is controlled in this way, sir, it stops the unleashing of animal spirits, as we call it in the entrepreneurship language, that if India needs private investments to come, sir, we need to let these animal spirits unleash. India is one of the most entrepreneurial, ingenious people, set of people, sir. If they have that freedom, Honorable Member Mr. Kapil Sibal, while speaking yesterday, sir, had mentioned about granting the freedom. Sir, I am seconding that opinion in a different aspect relating to private investments. Sir, we need to create an enabling atmosphere where people will be able to come and invest. Sir, I want to anecdotically refer to a particular instance, which is something that I know personally, sir. If some person wants to invest 10 crore rupees in a small town for setting up a particular business establishment, sir, he has to go through several processes. He needs to be helped through those several processes. If he feels that investing 10 crores is going to buy him a lot of trouble at the hands of enforcement agencies or tax authorities, then the next person who sees this person undergo this trouble, sir, he would think he is better off investing the money in land or in buying something which is not productive, doesn't add to the GDP, or buying shares. So we have this strange situation where the stock market is booming, but investments are not being made by the private sector. Sir, I would therefore say that it is very important that we remove this sense of fear from the businessman's mind. Sir, I would want to give the example of a policeman. Sir, we were told very early when we were young that when someone sees a policeman on the Indian road, we try to move away because we are a little worried. In London or in England, when someone sees a policeman, they walk towards the policeman because they know they will get help from the policeman. Sir, our GST agencies, our ED agencies, our tax and enforcement agencies in relation to business need to be that helpful agency that someone should feel comfortable approaching for the purpose of seeking help. They should enforce law, but while they are enforcing law, they should be using some kind gloves. They should not be using an iron fist. Sir, I think, sir, this government, as I said, has done a splendid job in formalizing the economy. It has played the strict father for sufficient length of time. Maybe, sir, time has come that this government now needs to start playing a kind mother. Sir, fortunately, we have an the finance minister who the leader of opposition called Mataji, and I would respectfully urge the Honorable Finance Minister to ensure that this industry, which needs to come and make private investment, needs to be goaded, maybe needs to be persuaded. It may need a little bit of careful hand-holding by the government, sir. Sir, the next issue is about job creation. Sir, I have seen the current scheme that is proposed. I have done a quick back of the envelope calculation, sir. What I find, if you have to give this apprenticeship to 1 crore people in 500 companies over a period of 5 years, sir, it roughly works out to 4,000 people being granted this apprenticeship in each of the companies every year. Sir, it may be a tall ask. 5,000 rupees may be a little less. The suggestion I have for the Honorable Finance Minister is, could they scale it back a little? Instead of 1 crore, can they consider having a reasonable number of 20 or 30 lakhs to start with for the first 4-5 years? The apprenticeship amount needs to be something like 15,000 or 20,000 rupees. The pressure on the companies will be lesser. They may be able to take. Sir, I must also compliment the Finance Secretary who immediately clarified that this is not going to be a compulsive imposition on the industry. This has set certain concerns at rest. The government is starting from a good position, sir. We need imaginative, innovative solutions for the purpose of ensuring that we do this job creation. While the government's intent is something that I salute, sir, the scheme that has been spelled out in the budget, I have my slight reservations. I am not in a position to advise or guide the Finance Ministry. Sir, we have a very capable Finance Minister who has been presenting budgets for the 7 years, and I would think this is possibly one of our best budgets. I would request the Honorable Finance Minister to look into this aspect little more closely, sir. So then the next issue, which is a matter of concern for me, which I'm sharing with this House, is about how do we tackle inequality. Sir, the government here may have to tread a very careful path. Sir, I don't find myself completely agreeing with my members on the right when they say that we need to have a more socialistic approach. Sir, please, I'm trying to get a better expression. But while we need to have welfare, sir, we cannot do it at the cost of development. India is in a development phase. I think the government is doing a balanced job of trying to balance development while providing welfare. But one area which is, there is still some lacunae and the government may need to look at it little more seriously, sir, is this rising inequality. This needs to be addressed. Sir, I ask myself, do I have a silver bullet to suggest? Sir, I don't. There is no easy solution to this. Sir, I think sadly, I have not heard anything from the treasury benches about how they would want to address this inequality on an urgent basis. Sir, I must also say I have not heard anything from the right side of the benches. While there has been criticism about rising inequality, there needs to be concrete, definite suggestions which may appeal to the government for implementation. So, sir, I think while none of us have a silver bullet or an immediate solution, this is a matter of concern which we may need to discuss. Sir, the last of my concerns, the previous point dovetails into this, sir. The last of my concerns is when issues like this arise, when we are in this very strange place where all of us are concerned, including the government and opposition about certain aspects, and I don't think, sir, there will be a debate that inequality has been rising. I don't think there will be a debate that this inequality needs to be addressed. So when there is a consensus all around on the necessity of reducing this inequality, sir, I think we must not lose ourselves to politics. Sir, I see triumphalism on one side because उधर 300 पार नहीं हुआ, 400 पार नहीं हुआ, triumphalism is evident on one side. Then I see, sir, denialism on the other side. They think high growth rate, we are having 6%, 7%, everything is hunky-dory with the economy. Sir, if we have this kind of an approach, it would be a denialism. I castigate the triumphalism, sir. I castigate the denialism. I would respectfully say that we need to be realistic in understanding these concerns, and maybe, sir, the House and all of us need to come together, keep politics aside, identify the major core issues which are a problem, sir, not because of the Indian economy itself. These are all, sir, things that we are having on account of the global order. We are a part of the global order. We are a part of this globalization attempt that has been going on in the world. So while I understand, sir, it is not entirely to be laid at the doorstep of either this governance or the governance that preceded it, the crisis is there. We need to understand it, we need to accept it, and we need to move forward. Sir, since I have a few more minutes, I just wanted to give 2 or 3 constructive suggestions from my side, sir. Sir, first, a topic very close to my heart. Court and infrastructure. Sir, I am happy. I would commend the finance minister that the budget for court infrastructure has been increased by 900 crores. Sir, from the previous year's budget, this is almost a one-third increase, sir. I'm grateful to the government for looking at this seriously. But I must also remind the government, sir, that we are starting from a low base. So the Indian court infrastructure is one of the relatively, sir, amongst the developed countries, we have the weakest infrastructure. A lot needs to be done. If India has to be a Vikasit Bharat, sir, we will need a Vikasit judiciary's infrastructure. Sir, I would implore the Honorable Finance Minister, after commending her for giving a one-third raise in 1 year, that please keep this trend going, because the judiciary needs the support of the government in ensuring that we provide this first-class judicial. Sir, we have one of the best judicial software, judicial personalities, sir, but we need the infrastructure that would go further. Sir, I also wanted to commend the government because for the first time, sir, I am seeing a legal and defense council system being allotted 200 crores. So for those who may not be well initiated into this, this means, sir, that when there are poor people who are not represented, the government is now saying we will provide you legal aid. Sir, earlier we always had these legal aid statutes and authorities, but they did not have the money. So this government has set up a 200 crores for the purpose of providing to legal aid council, which means a poor man can engage a good lawyer who will be paid a reasonable fee. He will come and defend the poor people. Again, madam, while I commend the Honorable Finance Minister, sir, I would ask this effort to be an ongoing, continuous effort. Sir, one concern, which is the e-courts program, which has had a decent allocation of 1,500 crores this year, at this juncture, sir, does not include the tribunals. There's an increasing tribunalization that is happening. I would request the Honorable Finance Minister to consider that a separate grant be made for e-tribunals like it is done for e-courts. So the next topic, again of an importance to me, is, sir, the large-scale importance placed by the budget on urban development. Sir, now this is something that is very important. The budget speech made by the Honorable Finance Minister had some very pleasing words. They were music to my ears to hear the Honorable Finance Minister recognize that cities are growth hubs, that there should be an economic and transit planning. Peri-urban areas need to be developed through planning schemes. Then brownfield development of existing cities need to happen. Transit-oriented development for 14 large cities is planned, sir. While this is done, sir, I find one major problem, sir, when I am seeing any urban development, which is urban planning is extremely weak, sir. So I have raised a few questions in this house with regard to urban planning, and I was rightfully reminded that it is a state subject. The center has a slightly limited role, sir, when it comes to urban planning. But, sir, the center has come up with some schemes where they are giving loans to the state government today on a 50-year basis without interest, and they are linking it to certain reforms. One of the suggestions I have for the Honorable Finance Minister is to ensure, since nearly 40 to 50% of Indian population, sir, will be living in cities, please link some of these loans to these urban planning modules or certain programs that the central government may indicate, because then it would mean that the states would be forced to do this under urban development plans, which will mean Indian cities will become better. Sir, the third area that I wanted to give a suggestion on is on emerging tech and skilling. Sir, there is at present a dire shortage of adequate skilled personalities, sir, in AI and this emerging technology. Sir, AICTE as an educational institution is looking at this, sir, but India needs to plan. Sir, as of last year, NASSCOM report says there is 2 lakh personal shortage of people who are required in this high-skilled machine learning and artificial intelligence. Sir, AI is going to be disruptive. We are going to lose jobs, but, sir, we have a brilliant opportunity. Sir, in the Stanford University's AI Index report, India ranked #1, sir, in having this skill penetration of artificial intelligence. We were higher than US, we were higher than any other country. This is, sir, because of the software skills that Indians have been trained over a period of time. There needs to be, sir, a renewed focus on skilling on these new emerging areas. These new emerging areas will displace some old jobs, but if we are able to skill our young people on the new areas, they will compensate for the lost jobs, and the skilling needs to be done alternatively for people who are coming out of these lost jobs. Sir, the last point I want to make is that the land records digitization, the income tax revamp that is proposed in 6 months, the taxonomy for climate change, and the Bharat nuclear reactors. Madam, each of this is salutary. I would fully commend the Honorable Finance Minister to please keep your continuous focus on each of these. Each of this is going to help Indian economy. And lastly, sir, when I have only 30 seconds left, AP Reorganization Act, any assurance made on the floor of the Parliament, sir, comes under that assurance committee. You are fully aware, sir. Sir, this assurance made for providing certain benefits to the state of Andhra Pradesh were made by the Finance Minister in the Council of States. I'll request 15 seconds more, sir. So, because I have heard a lot of my friends complain about Andhra being singled out for certain special benefit. My colleague, my party leader, Mr. Vijay Reddy, made a different point. I am only saying one thing, sir. The point I am making is, these assurances need to be complied with. If the first step has been taken, though it is a half measure or a no measure, I want the government to do more, sir, for ensuring that they keep up with their promise of AP Reorganization Act assurances given. None of the other states can have a grouse, and none of them actually did, sir. I'm grateful to all of them, because the assurance was given in the Council of States by the Honorable Prime Minister in the presence of representatives of every state. So all the states were witness to an assurance made. If something made to the state of Andhra Pradesh is not complied with today, it can happen to the others tomorrow. I am grateful to everybody, because everybody said we have no grouse. Thank you so much for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you.